Years ago, there were an old couple in Japan. They were kind to animals and they had a dog as a pet. They loved him like a baby and the dog also loved them back. The old man was a rice farmer. The old man, being a rice farmer, went daily with his spade or hoe into the fields. At once, the dog went nearby the old man and put his paws against his leg and directed his head to some spot. The old man thought he was playing. After doing this for some more time, the old man followed the dog. The dog began digging with his paws near a tree. The old man also started digging with his hoe at there and got buried shining gold. The old couple became rich. And in the same village there were a wicked old couple who were not kind to animal and they also harm animal. These old man and woman heard about this. They coaxed the dog, hoping they get some treasure. At once the dog started digging at a place. They also started digging with hope, but they found no treasure but a buried kitten. They got angry and killed the dog and buried under a pine tree. At that night, the old man dreamt about the dog, and the dog said, "He is killed and buried under a pine tree." The dog said, "To cut the pine tree and make a mill for your beef sauce." The next day, as the dog said, the old couple chopped the pine tree and made a mill and started grinding. When they started grinding, gold dropped like rain from the mill. This made them more rich. On hearing this, the jealous old couple borrowed that mill and started grinding. At this moment, there were no gold coming out. There were worms coming out from the mill. They were more angry and chopped the mill into pieces and used as firewood. After a few days, the old man again dreamt of the dog. The dog said the wicked old couple burned the mill and set the old man to take the ashes and throw them to a dead tree. As the dog said, the couple went to the wicked old couple and asked for the ashes. The wicked old couple said to take it angrily. They took the ashes and threw it to a dead tree. At that moment the tree bloomed. In the village nearby, a landlord was passing. The old couple did not kneel, but the others kneeled. The old man went to the higher grounds and threw the ashes on a dead tree. The tree burst into blossom. The landlord was happy and gifted them with some gift. On hearing this, the wicked old couple got angry and done the same. When a landlord was passing by, he did not kneel. He went to higher ground and threw some ashes. At this time, the tree did not burst into blossom, but the landlord and his wife began to sneezing, and the guards beat him to death. And the man died in the mud. But the kind friend of the dog dwelt in peace, plenty, and both he and his wife lived in green old ages. Thank you.
Japan is a country made up of many islands, some large and others very small, arranged in an arc east of the Asian continent. Tokyo is the capital of Japan and is on the largest island of the archipelago. A good 3 million of Japan's 127 million inhabitants live there. Japan is rich with natural marvels like forests, mountains, lakes, and volcanoes. The country is divided into 8 regions as shown in the map above. Kimono is a traditional dress of Japan worn by men and women alike. Obi is a belt or sash worn with the kimono. Geta are a form of traditional Japanese footwear, mostly made with wood and a fabric. In Japanese culture, an opening fan, or known as sensu in Japanese, symbolizes a blooming flower or a widening wealth. Mochi is a rice pastry found in Japan. It is made of rice pounded into paste and molded into shape. Mochi is a traditional food for Japanese New Year and is commonly sold and eaten during that time. It can be served with fillings or bean sauce. Other Japanese food items include sushi, vinaigrette rice with seafood and vegetables, ramen, noodle soup. Japanese festivals are traditional festive occasions. Some important Japanese festivals are Hanami, Cherry Blossom Festival, Tanabata, Star Festival, Hinamatsuri, Doll Festival, and Shotgasu, Japanese New Year. Some landmarks in Japan: Mount Fuji, Tokyo Tower, Fushimi Inari Shrine, Itsukushima Shrine, etc. Here are some Japanese words. Konnichiwa means hello. Kudasai, please. Arigato, thanks. Sayonara, bye. Bowing is one of the most important customs in Japan. Bow is a typical courteous Japanese greeting. It can convey many things, including an apology, gratitude, and respect. The longer and the deeper the bow, the more respect it expresses for the recipient. For a casual hello among friends, a very slight bow is enough, but when asking for forgiveness, you must bow very deeply. Hope you liked the video. Thank you and have a nice day. Bye. No, sayonara.
Chapter 4: The Ashes That Made Trees Bloom by William Elliot Griffiths. Japanese Tale. Once there lived an old couple. They had a pet dog. They had no child. They loved the dog as if it was a baby. The dog was called Muko. The kind couple fed the dog with their own forks. In return, the dog also loved them much. The old man was a farmer. Every morning, Muko followed him to his fields. A heron walked in the footsteps of the old man to pick up worms. Like his master, the dog also never harmed the bird. One day the dog put his paws against the old man's leg. He motioned with his head to some spot behind. To please his pet, the old man followed him. At a little distance from there, the dog stopped. It started scratching the ground. To help his pet, the old man struck his hoe in the earth. Now there was a pile of gold before him. So the old couple became rich. They gave a feast to their friends and to their poor neighbors too. In the same village there lived an wicked old man and his wife. They brought the dog into their garden. They set before him good food. But the dog was afraid. He neither ate nor moved. They dragged the dog out of doors. They walked with him. When they reached a pine tree, the dog began to scratch the ground. The wicked couple was delighted. Both of them dug the ground. What they got was a dead kitten. The couple was very angry. They killed the dog. Then they flung him into the hole they had dug. They heaped the earth over his carcass. The incident of the dog's death reached the ears of its owner. He felt so sad as if he had lost his own son. He gone to the place where his pet had been buried. He mourned for a long time. He called him many dear names as if he were alive. That night he saw the spirit of the dog in his dream. The dog asked him to cut the pine tree and make from it a mortar. He also asked him to make from that wood a mill. The old man did as he was told. With much labor, he made a small bowl of the wood. Then he made a long-handled hammer of wood. When the new year drew near, he decided to make a rice pastry. They put the boiled rice in the wooden mortar. The old man used the wooden hammer to pound the mass into dough. When the pastry was ready for baking, it turned into a mass of gold coins. The old woman took the handmill and filling it with bean sauce began to grind. The gold dropped like rain. At this moment the envious neighbor peeped into the window. Then they decided to borrow the mill. The old couple readily gave their mill to the neighbor. The man began to pound the rice and the woman began to grind. However, this time the pastry and sauce turned into worms. To be continued with part 2. Thanks for watching.